call me a god. You call me a god. You call me a god. You call me a god. Let's go.
All right. Hey everybody, how's it going? I don't really know who's here and who's not. It doesn't show me any of the comments until I start the stream, which is kind of weird.
Yes.
But
I am also annoyed by that, yeah.
yeah, the I wish it didn't do that. But anyway, um, hey, if you're out there or watching later or whatever, this won't be a very long video today. But as we get closer to leading into the Ark Encounter protest and stuff that I'm trying to put together, that we're going to be trying to work on and put together over the next coming months, who better to debunk weekly than Ken Ham, right? So Jess came up with the spoiled ham concept, and I think it's perfect. I think it's great. As much as I liked Pelagia's ham and eggs stuff, um, I like the spoiled ham thing. I think it's awesome.
I don't know where
Uh,
it came from. I hope I'm not stealing it from somebody else.
I mean, I don't. Stealing it would imply intent, and I don't think that that's there. So
No.
definitely not. Um, what's up, PC and Trees and Jason and uh, who else
And
we got? John.
Dave.
Is Dave here? What's
Yeah.
up, Dave? Dave has his Bigfoot call he can pull up anytime to drop his link and all that stuff. Trees dropped an awesome video today. Did you see that?
No.
Making fun of the snake handlers in Kentucky.
Oh,
It's
no, I'm gonna have to catch that later.
it's a really good one. Look at the trees. It's posted on my community tab. Anybody that wants to go see it. But yeah, me and Dave did roasted ham, or what was it? Was it roasted ham, or
He says roasted ham.
we had ham on we had a piece of ham on like a big barbecue, and Ken Ham's face on the piece of ham. Um, but yeah, I really like this concept, and Ken Ham makes these short videos every week that are easy to respond to without like spending an hour going through a whole AIG video, which
Yeah.
really an hour isn't even long enough to go through a whole AIG video. You really need like two.
It's the same things. As we'll learn tonight, crosses the same things with the same things.
Yeah. uh, I want to in this video, like I didn't even watch this whole video. I just watched like the first minute of it, um, because I mean I've talked on this subject, and this is one of the couple of debates I did. I debated this subject, so I'm kind of familiar with some of this. The the thing to look out for here, and the thing to always watch for with AIG and Ken Ham, is the way in which they portray the information. Because one of the big things that Ken Ham and AIG say is that, the Bible is God's word, and we don't want to add man's word to God's word. We want to look at what God's word is, and we take that literally. And if God says that creation was in 7 days out of order, then that's how he did it, right? Because miracles. And so pay close attention to how he portrays the information. I'll be calling it out, of course, but like this is the thing. This is one of the things that I've been preaching on about lately, is that yeah, we can debunk the things that creationists say and everything, and we will do that thing, but also look at the way in which they do it, because that's really where they show their hand. They have no way to do this other than be dishonest. Ken Ham knows that he's dishonest. Like, it's not, and he does a very dishonest thing immediately into this video. And so, anything you want to say before we get going, Jess?
No, I'm excited. Let's go.
Okay, let's go. Let's see. So, give me the maybe if I do, nope, let's not do that. what's going on here? I
Oh
don't
no,
have access to the video layer.
don't have access to the video layer. I can
Uh,
remove it from scene. Do you want me to just push play?
yeah, can you play it? Hit play on it.
Well, after the flood of
Oh,
Noah's day, God said the rainbow would be a sign of.
okay. How do I do that?
So did you pause that?
I did, yes.
Okay. So you'll just have control of the video. Just that'll work.
Just start talking then when you want me to pause it, because otherwise I won't.
I'll tell you. I'll tell you when to pause. It'll be
Okay,
at the 10-second mark.
okay. I'll put it back at the beginning.
Yeah.
And
Did God lie about the flood? God lie? I mean, the Bible says God is not a man that he would lie. No, he doesn't lie. He's the truth. Jesus, who is God, said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. So why would I even ask the question, did God lie about the flood? Well, after the flood
All
of
right.
Noah's
So
day.
so back up to the beginning one more time
yeah.
because I must have missed it.
Did God lie about the flood? God lie? I mean, the Bible says God is not a man that he
Pause
would
it.
lie. No, he doesn't lie. He's the truth. Jesus.
So right here, God is not a man that he should lie. It does say that. But why do you think that he stops at the comma rather than reading the whole sentence?
Or a son of man that he should change his mind.
Right, because this is in the book of Numbers, and what happens immediately after the flood? God says that he regrets flooding the world and killing everything on earth that way.
Yeah.
So he changed his mind about the method of which that he did that. He immediately has regret and changed his mind about the efficacy of a flood.
Yeah.
And so and apologists know that there's a big problem with this God never changes thing. I mean, a lot of them still say it because it is in the Bible, but God obviously does a lot of mind changing about a lot of things. Uh, Even if we go Old Testament to New Testament, you've got have no other gods before me, and then and in fact here I think the next slide is him saying Jesus says that you can only get to the Father through me. So God changing his mind is something that happens constantly, and so in order to avoid that problem, he stops in the middle of the sentence. I mean, who reads things that way? Nobody does that. It was done on purpose, obviously.
Okay, based on that though, then we had, what was that Bible verse that was like, and there's a whole song, and then it's and dash the babies against the rocks or something like that, and they always stop before they read that part of the verse.
Oh, right, because I think that's Leviticus.
Is it
Um,
Leviticus? Okay.
and so what they're talking about there is there's a tribe that has wronged the Israelites, and God tells them in order to get revenge against these people that they should go and take all their stuff and they should kill their children by dashing the babies against the rocks.
Yeah,
There's actually two occurrences of that in the Bible, I believe, but that's for sure one of them.
that's cool.
It's not cool to dash babies against rocks, Jess.
That
but but yeah, that's there's lots and lots of examples of where God changes his mind about things and uh, does various things. Um, God does a lot of weird things in the Old Testament, because in the Old Testament you see this progression of mythology where everybody's magical, and there's all this stuff, and as we go on, Jesus does some little parlor tricks, but it's more about the be kind and love one another and turn the other cheek, and unless it's an eye for an eye at the time. But the anyway, like those things change drastically. Anyway, we can go on with what Ken Ham has to say. I just wanted to show that he starts this whole thing out being dishonest.
with yeah.
Jesus, who is God, said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. So why would I even ask the question, did God lie about the flood? Well,
All right,
after the flood
pause
of.
it one more time, because asking the question, did God lie about the flood, is like a loaded question if there ever was one.
Yeah, well, yes.
All right.
Noah's day, God said the rainbow would be a sign of a covenant between God and the animals and God and man, that there'd never be such a flood again. Now, we've seen lots of catastrophic floods since that time. We've seen some catastrophic floods in recent times. We see them in countries all over the earth. So, did God lie? Why would I say that? Because there are many
All
in the
right.
church.
So, equivocating a catastrophic flood to a worldwide flood that covers up the tops of the tallest mountains is not at all the same thing. Like,
No.
there's catastrophic, and then there's like planet ending. Okay.
Yes. And I
And
think that's part of his argument as well, like in talking to other Christians that are perhaps like old Earth creationists or something, um, in regards to that.
yeah, so the thing with the catastrophic floods, and I love when they bring this up, because how do we know about those catastrophic floods, Kim, other than when the ones we have videos? Like, how do we know that they happen?
We have records.
Right. We see evidence of it, right?
Yes.
Because when a catastrophic flood takes place, that there's a floodplain and it leaves debris, and generally you see that like the bigger things precipitate out than the smaller things,
Yeah.
and there's a gradient to the way it looks. In fact, in the geography of the United States, we know like even the mechanisms that made some of these big, huge, catastrophic floods happen because we can see them. So whenever he then proposes, oh, well, catastrophic floods happen, so a worldwide flood must happen. The problem with that is that we don't see the same things with that we see with these other localized floods. It's just not a thing. And he gets into the geologic column and stuff, and we'll address that when it gets there. But equivocating those two things again is just like, you're not talking about the same thing. And even if you were, like, where are the formations and the evidence left behind by this worldwide flood that you're describing? All right.
Many church leaders who say Noah's flood was just a local event. If Noah
Okay. I'm pausing at this one. So he's saying that these church leaders I could not find without, like, I didn't want to like screen and then look all day to find out who these leaders are because I didn't know who they were. Do you know by photo? Does anybody know by photo who they
The
are?
guy on the left looks very familiar, but I can't place him.
Yeah.
I don't know who these people are. But again, does it even matter? Like,
No, I was just curious.
yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
it is weird to just put pictures up there and say church leaders. They may be
Yeah.
stock images. Who knows?
Yeah.
He probably
Noah's flood
Googled
was just a
church leaders.
Oh, fair.
Yeah.
local event, and God said he would never repeat such an event again, then God lied, because we've seen many
Ross.
local floods since that time.
Amber said the left is Hugh Ross. That's
Okay.
yeah.
I
That's it.
gotcha.
Greg Kokel, yeah, and that other was a young guy.
Wasn't a fairly young fellow, wasn't it?
I'm surprised he didn't use what's his name? Matt, dipshit Matt. Not dipshit Matt from Standing for Truth, but dipshit bigot Matt.
Matt,
Kent
starts with
Hovind's
an
friend.
Okay,
It doesn't matter.
Okay. Okay.
Time. But God wasn't referring about a local event. He was referring to a global event. In
Then
fact,
why are
when you
we
read
talking
Genesis
about
chapter
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Then why? Like, we're halfway through the video and that's all you've talked about.
Yeah.
Matt Powell, yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
6 through 9, you can't come away with any other idea than this was a global event. The highest hills under the whole of heaven were covered by water. I mean, it was a massive, worldwide, catastrophic, cataclysmic event. And that's why we see all these layers of fossils, thousands of feet deep.
Oh my gosh, he's saying the thing that he says every time since Bill Nye. I have heard him say the thing.
So even let me pull us up to where I can see us on full screen for a second,
Okay, okay,
because I want to see if I can identify. So in his fossils here,
yeah.
what he's claiming is that these fossils, and I know this is just,
And they look random, right? Like just
yeah,
yeah.
it's just an animation, but like he has these layers here and he's showing it, and it's like
That's not how that
they're not
works, sir.
hydrologically sorted.
No.
Yet
No.
you're claiming that's the method for which they were put there, is we see these fossils because of the flood, is the claim that you're making. And
Mm.
those fossils are not sorted that way. It's just not.
No, they're not.
All over the earth. But why would Christians even say it was a local flood? Well, because if you believe in millions of years, the idea of millions of years came from the belief that was actually proposed by atheists and deists trying to explain everything by natural processes.
Okay, I didn't remember that there was memes. These are great. Millions of years ice age. It was an age with lots of ice, but not so much age.
So
Oh.
so he's doing a couple different dishonest things here. First of all, this is like a complete like red herring. Like he says, why do Christians propose a local flood? Which is presupposing things too, but he says that atheists are the ones that propose millions of years, and it's not. It's science.
Yes.
It's the things that you're talking about. The reason that people propose millions of years, billions of years, is because we looked at those things you're talking about, the fossil record and those floods and the effect they have. And it's the same reason that not only is it one of those things. Arn Ross says this a lot. He says not only is it not evidently true, it's evidently not true, which I don't think he owns that. I think that's really a science thing. But like, um, the that's perfect for this, because whenever we look at all that stuff, one of the things we can tell for sure, like, science doesn't speak with a lot of certainty on many things, but it can speak with some pretty good certainty that this is not the case. This is not supported by anything. This is the Bible makes this claim, and some other books that are mostly considered fiction that it was lifted from, but that's it. Like there's nothing to support what he's saying.
So go back to the late 1700s, early 1800s, they popularized this idea that the fossils were laid down over millions of years. And so if you're going to accept the idea of millions of years, which is based on naturalism, and the belief that the layers of fossils were laid down over millions of years, then you can't have a global flood if you're going to be a Christian and try to add that to the Bible. Because if you believe in a global flood, it would have ripped up all those layers and redeposited them and destroyed that evidence anyway, so it doesn't make any sense. And so if you're going to believe in millions of years, you can't have a global flood. You have to have a local flood, which doesn't fit with Scripture, and then really means God lied because he broke his promise. So
Wow.
none of that fit.
I like that he zoomed in right there too, because it was like he just said the stupidest thing ever. You can't you can't have if you believe in millions of years, you can't have a worldwide flood, because you need millions of years for all those things. So you have to have a localized flood. So then therefore God lied. He starts with like a stupid thing and then jumps like 3 steps removed from it, like making
Yes.
claims about things. And this all comes back to then God lied. And maybe it isn't that, like, I don't think that any of that precludes you believing in even a fundamentalist view of religion. Like,
Yeah.
you can still, you don't have to deny science to say those things. Like, you can say God miracled it all away. Like, you don't see it. God miracled it away after he did it. It was or it's a figurative flood, like, it doesn't have to be a literal flood. Like, God did that and killed all the Nephilim, and we don't see any evidence of it because it was all magic. Like,
It was magic. Yeah.
yeah,
Poof.
uh, you don't have to do what you're doing here, and he insists on doing that, and it's like, he's then it zooms in at the end of him saying that God lied.
I put it back a little bit, so it's going to jump a little.
Okay, go ahead.
Means God lied because he broke his promise. So none of that fits. The Bible makes it very clear that it was a global flood. And if it was a global flood, you'd expect to find billions of dead things buried in rock layers, laid down by water all over the earth, which you do.
And that's the thing that he says in every time he freaking
But
can.
but is that unique to that hypothesis? Is that the only way that you would see millions of things laid down in rock layer over time? Like, he says, like,
I need Kent Hovind's little sand thing. And then I
right.
need Grayson to come and explain that people are different ages again. But to Ken Ham.
So whenever you talk about, like, when science looks at evidence and they're forming their hypothesis and whatever conclusion they eventually come to, one of the things that is important is that if you're going to make a conclusion, like, you're going to conclude that a worldwide flood is responsible for the geologic column, right? If you're going to make that conclusion, then your evidence, at least some of your evidence, needs to point to that conclusion to the exclusion of any competing conclusions, right? So what he does here is he says, see, there's millions of things, and a worldwide flood would do it. But that's also exactly what we would expect from an old Earth and um, evolutionary processes and geologic processes that we know work. So he's just adopting that information and saying, well, see, proves I'm right, while leaving
Yeah.
out everything else around it.
Yeah.
There's one other thing that I want to make clear as well. When you look at the consequences of some of the local floods we've seen in recent times, it's catastrophic. It's just mind-blowing what water can do, the way in which it can just carve through rock and rip up all that sediment and just totally destroy things. I mean, it's amazing
Yes,
the
water
destructive
does
power
that.
of water. That's just a local flood. And also, these local floods sometimes deposit many, many feet of sediment. I mean, imagine what a global flood could do. And when people say a global flood couldn't form all those layers we see over the earth, well, just think about what local floods do and then realize, of course, a global flood could do that. It'd be much more catastrophic. So, no.
So why don't you look at those local floods then and see what hydrologic sorting looks like among the debris in those floods, and then try to compare that to the geologic column? Why don't we do that? Why did we never see Ken Ham doing a one-to-one comparison of those two things? Because when you do, they're different. Because all the layers and the fossils are not sorted by water. Hydrologic sorting has a very specific way that it does things. The more dense things precipitate out first, and then the lighter things. And you would have all of this. You would see all of these fossils in like a single layer, pretty much. I mean, there might be some rocks and stuff among it, but you're going to get, for the most part, those things are not extremely different densities like rock, like granite, and then like birds and stuff, of course, would be on top. Like, you would have a certain way that looks, and you could make predictions. Also, if you want to propose that the Earth is 4.5 billion years old, you could say, and evolution is true, and all these different disciplines of science. You can also use those to make predictions about what you can see too, and that's what we actually see. What the predictions that you would make if you weren't a dipshit like Ken Ham from a worldwide flood would not be the ones that he's claiming they are.
God doesn't lie. God has never lied. God never will lie. He is truth.
I agree.
And what we see happening in our world today, these catastrophic local floods, it's all because of man's sin, which changed everything.
There it is, right?
Yep.
It's our fault.
Yep.
Now,
It's all our fault.
Ken Ham isn't as bad personally about publicly blaming it on the gays and everything else that they like to do, but
Yeah.
that's AIG posts it all the time on Twitter. I remember. That's what they're getting at here. Is it's the awful ways that we do things, and we don't live the way that Ken Ham thinks we should live. So God's punishing everybody with floods, even
Well,
though he wouldn't do it that way anymore.
that's true. And I mean, with the rainbow thing, they're trying to take it back. Apparently, they're lighting up the ark with rainbow lights and everything like that. And
Love to see it.
we'll see that when we go.
Sorry, I was looking at something off the screen.
That's okay.
Yeah. So what's he got? He's almost to the end, ain't he?
Yeah, he is.
Okay.
You know, in the beginning, there was no death or suffering. So what changed and why? Well, watch this video for answers.
What does that mean? What does that mean that there was no death or suffering?
That there was no death and suffering?
Yeah. Like, what does no death mean? Like, specifically.
I mean, and then my brain goes dystopian, and then people can't die, and it gets weird and creepy.
Right. So if there was no death, then there was no plants. Like what? So one of the things that early Christians argued about this is saying that like all animals were herbivores and that man didn't kill the animals and eat meat or whatever. That wasn't until after the fall. But then we discovered that plants were living things too, and that you still have death if you're eating plants.
So, are you related to a banana?
I mean, maybe. Depends on the banana.
I'm very disappointed in you, Joe.
Well, I mean, this is Kentucky. I'm used to be related to everything. So the we're all related here. The it's like but right. So things we didn't know before is why that they made these claims. And for a good what was it, like the 1600s, that so this kind of shit that Ken Ham's saying disappeared like a few hundred years ago. Didn't disappear completely, but was not like, we understood better things about, and we knew that not all this was completely true. And then people studied the Bible, and it seems that like Genesis is kind of written like Hebrew poetry. It's and I've even looked at some of this. I talk about it in one of my videos a long time ago, debunking Ray Comfort's 10 Scientific Facts in the Bible. I talk about how there's like a poetry part to how it's written, and when we translated it, and then you've got Ken Ham who wants to read it literally after that, you lose some of that context, right?
Yeah.
And so, but Ken Ham has been in this space, and he's talked to some very intelligent people, way smarter than me, about this subject, and he still continues to say this wrong thing, even though we have a really good understanding of how Genesis was written and why and what it is.
He's been saying this exact thing since the early 2000s because this was almost word for word from his book.
Well, you know exactly what he said on stage with Bill Nye is there's
Yes.
nothing you could say to convince me that my position isn't true.
He might as
So,
well have the slides of Kent Hovind. He might as well. It's
yeah,
the
might as
exact
well.
same thing.
Yeah.
Just, yeah.
Ken Ham has been a smarter businessman than Kent Hovind,
Yes.
I think.
Yes.
I think that's, but, yeah, and like you want to open an ARC museum for all the Jesus freaks in Kentucky to go pretend to be fake boat captains. What the fuck ever. Like, go for it.
Yeah.
But whenever, like, and I found that, like, kind of offensive because of Kentucky taxpayers paying for this religious bullshit. But the thing that really got me and pissed me off and really triggered me to want to go after Ken Ham and AIG is the
Mhm.
homeschool stuff. Like, and you see the videos of the Ark encounter, and like they play it as like a highlight reel. It's like these are
Yeah.
the beauty shots they're showing, and it's Ken Ham at a podium in a huge auditorium telling children like a huge auditorium, thousand
Yes.
thousand or so children in there saying the earth was created 6,000 years ago, and they repeat it. And then he says evolution is a lie, and they repeat it. Like,
Oh, wow.
yeah, those kind of things like that. That's the thing that really like bothers me about what Ken Ham does, because
Yeah.
I can tell you that personally, if my kid went to school and a teacher told him the things that Ken Ham says was true, I'd probably whoop his ass, honestly. Like literally, like physical violence, for real. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, and I don't promote physical violence, but like
No.
I'm being honest. Like
Yeah.
it would piss me off to that point. Like to go and just lie to my kid about stuff that will very much stifle his ability to function in the modern world.
Yes.
So
That's how we
so
get idiocracy.
yeah, right, and seems to be what most people are embracing at this point in
Yeah.
America. Um, and we can't wait for you to become an American, Jess. Whenever we add Canada as the 51st state.
Even my conservative premier has a hat that says Canada is not for sale. I don't think it's going to be a thing. I don't know.
We don't have to buy it. We got a military.
Yeah, you boots on the ground, I'm
Mm.
told. Boots on the
Yeah,
ground.
yeah, yeah. We don't. We'll just Donald Trump will just he'll just will. It'll be like a Jedi mind trick.
Yeah.
That's why Justin Trudeau didn't want to do it, and Donald Trump told him, said, "Well, you better resign then because it's happening." And so he resigned, and now Canada's gonna be the 51st state, and I'm gonna move to the United States of Greenland.
So
Um,
what we're going to do is Canada's just going to go and suck up a couple of the top northern states there, and then Mexico is just going to suck up
makes me wish I was
the
a
other
northern
one.
state.
And then, you know, no more US.
You missed the dirty joke.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Right. Well, we don't have to get
I'll
into
make
all
a
that.
dirty joke counter.
Oh yeah, we need that.
Yeah, we should.
Um, we don't have to go down that long discussion though. Um, so anyway, uh, if you guys out there like this kind of stuff, let me know. Like the video, subscribe, share it, do the things, and I think that at least for the next few months that we should continue to do this. It's a lot of
I'm
fun.
game.
Me and
Yeah.
Jess get to be together on screen and share our love of Ken Ham with all of you wonderful people.
So much love. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
yeah. But I I don't know. Ken Ham he's like, again, it's like Kent Hovind only with better business sense.
Yeah, it's
But
true. It's
in a
true.
lot of ways, Ken Ham and Kent Hovind don't like each other. And it's funny because they should definitely team up, because it's like Kent Hovind goes on about evolution, and Ken Ham actually does the Bible stuff and just sits and says the Bible's true, whereas Kent won't talk about the Bible at all. So yeah, but anything else before we?
I think that's it. We got to wait till the next video comes out, and then we'll put out
Yeah.
another one of these. Yeah.
Yeah. So as of right now, we're going to try and do this every Friday.
What happens? Yeah.
Ken Ham generally releases shorter videos, so they're not that bad to cover. But
Yeah.
we're going to, as we go and stuff, I'll be talking more about the Ark Encounter stuff. I need to go ahead and get the fundraising stuff set up for that, at least so everybody can see that
Okay.
we're really doing the thing. And but so Sunday, who am I talking to this Sunday? Oh, Answer Man, finally.
Yes.
Yeah, Answer Man, finally this Sunday. I had to put it off for 2 weeks over deaths and weather and other scheduling problems. And at the Kentucky Atheist, forward to Stephanie. Oh,
I don't know how to do that.
but yeah, I don't know what you're. Are you
I think,
just
like, how do
telling me?
we make it go to Steph's stream after us? Is that what you mean?
Yeah. Oh, is that what you're saying?
That's if I'm completely wrong, I apologize. That's what I thought that she meant.
Is Stephanie streaming? Jess, tell me if Amber says yes to that, because I can't see you now or the chat. I'm in the
It's a YouTube
on-
studio control thing, she says.
right. I know how to forward it. I'm just saying, is Steph streaming that I need to forward to it?
Al says she was. I'm waiting for updates.
Let me go look.
Yes, Steph is on, says Ember.
Okay. Give me 1 second. I'm setting it up.
Ooh.
All right.
We're good?
So when the stream ends, everybody will be forwarded over to Stephanie's stream, and I'll be over there in the chat too. And yes, Al, I will be on with Justin Sunday also. Tomorrow I'll be over on Dave's channel doing Saturday Night the Atheist. Sunday I will do Grateful to Know God's broadcast here, and then Sunday evening I'll be on Justin's channel talking about the political thing to do with Canada and stuff. They wanted a redneck American to come weigh in their piece of it. So him and Al are going to talk, and I'm going to make fun of their accents while they do it.
Nice.
Because I'm nice like that. The I always try to give, you know. The the yeah, but I guess that's everything. That's everything I got going on. I'll do a since we probably plan on doing this on Fridays now. Member streams will either move to like Mondays or earlier in the day on Fridays, or maybe both. I don't know, because I like to do that early sometimes, so some of the early people can watch it. And then, but also I understand people don't get off work till after 6 and stuff, and that allows more people to come too. So they won't all be 5 hours like the last one though, 5.5 hours. That's rare for me to stream that long. But all right, if that's all, I guess see you there, guys. Peace.
They call me a